A lot of people believe the society is uniquely designed to favor men, and it turns out that's a very difficult idea to defend.
Can you give me any privilege at all that men have that women don't? Whereas I can give you tons of privileges that women have that men don't. That's what I'm asking.
Privilege. Well, I mean, the privilege concept outside the legislative framework is a difficult one.
Even inside of it. I'm asking for both, either. Any.
All the cards on the table, just name any privilege you can think of. And for the first time in my life, I saw Konstantin unable to answer a question. I mean, Konstantin is one of the best debaters we have out there right now, and I totally admire him. But this was really surprising to see.
I mean, the privilege concept outside the legislative framework is a difficult one.
Even inside of it. I'm asking for both, either. Any, in fact.
I don't have the data on all this stuff, but I would assume there are contexts in which men are more likely to be employed for a certain thing because they're more likely to be perceived as authoritative, as leaders, things like that.
A lot of feminists make this argument, and they usually point to the fact of the differences in outcomes between men and women, because obviously there are certain sectors of the society that are dominated by men. But that argument only works when you assume that if men and women compete equally, the results will be equal. And that's really not true, because men and women have different skill sets. Like, there are things women are better at, or there are things people would prefer women to do, and Konstantin rightfully points that out.
Although that has changed with the kind of woke agenda of the last 10 years.
And it works both ways. Like, for instance, preschool teachers.
Yeah.
I would assume that people would vastly prefer that their kid go to a woman, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it seems like that privilege is striped across the board. Mm-hmm. So, why is it that women get all of the equality, right, but also get all the privilege? That doesn't seem right to me. That seems like it's backwards.
It turns out there's an instance where the law treats men and women differently, and that's when it comes to military drafts.
So if you can go and you can be drafted, you can be sent off to war, right? And women can't, but they can vote to send you off to war. How is that not something which fundamentally needs to be addressed immediately? That seems to me like it's completely lopsided, and it's giving one class of people a significant privilege over another.
One of the things that doesn't make a lot of sense to me is, for example, yes, it's true, men serve in combat roles and women don't, but women bear children and men don't. And there's a huge disadvantage in all sorts of societal outcomes from a materialistic career perspective to spending the time to bear the child and then to nurture that child, right?
Yes, that's true. Men fight wars, women give birth, but there's an important distinction between those two roles, and Andrew rightfully points that out.
No, you can't. There is no equivalency, and I can point out the distinction.
Yeah, the compulsion thing.
The compulsion, yes.
But for a society to work, men have to go to war and women have to have kids.
I agree, but you need to get to the they're having kids part before you can tell me that there's some equivalency to men being drafted, because they're not having kids.
And you're not being drafted.
But I can be compelled because I've signed up for the draft. Where have they signed up to have kids?
I think it's not a reach to claim that if men are required to go to war and are compelled by the law to go to war and they can't refuse it, don't you think the same thing should be applied to women?
I think this is a splitting hairs argument.
I think it's not. I think that the idea that my children can be drafted, or I could be drafted even at my age because perhaps I have knowledge which would be useful to the United States military. They could do it in 5 seconds. They could bring me on. They in Ukraine, they draft 60-year-old men. Okay? If they need you, they're going to take you. And you can peel potatoes or whatever it is they need, right? Women do not have to do that. They do not have to sign up for selective service.
Yeah.
They're not compelled and will never be compelled.
It's asymmetrical in that way.
They can avoid pregnancy, though, right? And if you're saying that they have a duty to have children...
I'm not saying they have a duty.
But you have a duty to go fight a war if you get drafted.
Correct.
Oh, okay. And this is fair how? Where do we get to the fairness?
Because that's the divide. Men go to war, women bear children. But men can't say no to going to war if the need arises. But women can say no to giving birth. And that points to privilege. That's just privilege. Because the law is not compelling them the way it's compelling men.
To be honest with you, man, this is the thing is actually a lot of this discourse I think is misguided, because the vast majority of women actually do want to have kids, but there are circumstances in their life which make them less likely to do so.
I agree.
The way to get people to have more kids is to get obstacles out of their way, not to compel them through the draft system. Here's your ticket, have 2 kids. You know what I mean? I don't think that's going to work. But it seems we agree on that.
I also agree with that, because I think despite the active push from the society to make childbearing and child rearing look like a burden, I think all things being equal, women would prefer to have children, all things being equal. I think generally we all know that women are privileged in the society. Like, if you're a guy, if you're a dude, you know this for a long time. There is so much incentive for women to go into fields. You see ads every day promoting women. You hardly see any ads promoting men. It's almost as if everybody's like, you know what, the men can take care of themselves. So it's always absurd when I go through Twitter or TikTok or whatever, and I see women talking about the patriarchy of and how it oppresses women, and I'm like, are you sure about what you're talking about? Because I can point you to men that are really suffering much more than women under the same patriarchy, and just because men don't complain a lot, it now looks like it's not happening. But it's happening. The society is not designed to favor men in any way. I don't think so. I don't see any evidence to support that claim. And if you think otherwise, I'm happy to hear your thoughts in the comment section. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for sticking around. That's it. Thanks for sticking around. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing if you like the kind of content I do. And see you guys in the next video. Peace.